Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We are here with Coach Ursula Waheed-Hutter, and she's going to talk to us about motivation. So if you're jumping on, say hello. I'm just going to share this across my Facebook, make sure that everyone can see it who needs to see it. We are having some technical difficulties, just to let you know. I haven't figured out my sound, so I still can't hear anything. So if you see my microphone, I'm actually listening to it on Facebook Live as you're listening to it. With the wonderful delay that's very confusing, but we're making this work. So I'm just going to share this across my Facebook. So just jump in and say hi to Ursula and give her a nice welcome.
Hello, everyone. Hey, Mary. Good morning.
Good morning, Mary. Mary's on here. Okay, it's posting. I'm just sharing it in a few places so everyone can know that we are on.
Yay.
So they can come join us.
Let's share it. Let's get that motivation heated up.
Yes.
Hey, Mary, I think Charlotte is busy sharing, so I'm doing great, Mary. I hope you do too. Welcome.
One more, please. Hold on. Okay, I'm all shared up. All right, so as I said, we are here with Ursula. She's going to be talking to us about motivation. If you don't know who I am, my name is Charla. I own Charla Bella. I'm just going to take this out because I can hear myself. And I'm a lifestyle strategist. And what that means is that I help women in general, moms in particular, live their best lives. And one of those things that I like to do is bring on health and wellness professionals to come and talk to you about various topics. And today we have Ursula, who's going to be talking to us about motivation, especially when it comes to heading into the holiday season. So if you've ever struggled with motivation, if you are struggling with motivation, raise your hand, say that's me. Whether you're watching it live or you're watching it later, let us know if that's something that you struggle with.
That's a big one. First, the cookies are coming already in the stores, so.
And as you're doing that, I'm going to have Ursula go ahead and introduce herself.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Oh my gosh, girl.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited.
So Ursula's going to introduce herself.
We got to talk cross today. Okay. That's how it makes it fun, right, guys? I'm just going to go ahead. I'm super excited to be here today and talking about one of my absolute favorite topics is motivation, right? It's kind of a miracle sometimes to find it. I'm a health and wellness coach. I'm a personal trainer. I am a specialist in fitness, nutrition, and behavior change. But most important, I'm just passionate about healthy lifestyle and helping others finding it. I've been in the health and fitness industry for many, many years since I'm young. And I just, it's an everyday struggle sometimes, but it can be so much joy when you get it. And that's what I'm doing. I am originally from Austria. That's in Central Europe, stuck in the middle of the Alps. I'm a mountain girl, and my husband is from the US. So we're kind of jumping back and forth. So all my programs are usually in English, and my coaching is in English and in German. So right now, we're actually working on translating everything in German, and that's what we're doing right now. So having fun, and that's me. If you have any more questions, just ask me through the chat or while we're talking. I want to keep that active, or check out my page later on. And I think now we're waiting for Charlotte to catch up.
Okay. So how we're gonna do this, because there's a delay in what I hear, actually in what comes off on Facebook. So I don't want there to be crossover. So how I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna interview Ursula through the chat, and she's gonna read the questions and answer them as I put them in the chat. I would ask that you would reframe your questions to the Q&A time at the end, just in case they are answered in the interview, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna start with my first question, and actually I can answer it. I can ask it now since, you know, I'm the only one talking at the moment. So the first question for Ursula: what is motivation? What are the basic concepts of motivation? Can you define that for us?
Yes, motivation is that magic I talked about already, right? When we have a goal and we get frustrated because it went out the window because we even hit our goal and reached our goal. Today, obviously, we want to talk about some other motivation that we don't have to chase. The motivation really is what drives us to fulfill our desires, to fulfill our needs. So it's basically the reason for us to change our behavior or to work on our behavior. The trick on motivation really is to understand that it is based on conscious and unconscious factors. Hey, good morning. Hello there. And that's really the secret, is becoming aware of what is really working consciously and what is something we might not be aware of and is affecting us. And that's when I talk about motivation today, is that we want to have that motivation that really lasts for a long time, and we don't have to chase it after every goal. And it should be part of our life more so than trying to find it like on Easter, right? Now, Charlotte, you already gave me another question. The second question is, what are concepts around motivation? Now, that is a huge question. When it comes to concepts and theories, I mean, there are so many out there, and I think we can't tackle all of them today. So let me try to break it down to make it a little easier to follow. And I want to really cover those where I feel like they can be applied in real life practically, and not so much in theory. In general, motivation is something that gets us either closer to something that we really like, or it gets us further away from something that we don't want. And this happens in somewhat of a circle, and it starts with our mind. Our mind is super powerful. We hear that a lot lately. I love that new kind of thing that's going on, that we have to pay attention to our mind. But our thoughts really create the foundation of what we do, of our behavior, how we act every day. And the more we strengthen a behavior, the more it gets a habit. And so the more we do something, it kind of goes into our performance. And when we're happy with how things are going and with the results that we're getting, then we have certain thoughts about it. We usually have good thoughts. And if you're not so happy, then our thoughts are usually a little more judgmental or maybe even critical. So, and you see that the circle starts all over again. So when I say let's tackle the theory concept in two parts, let me do this. I'm going to tackle first a few theories that I feel like that gives us a more understanding how motivation works in everyday life. And then I'll tackle some theories and concepts that I feel help us support our motivation more in everyday life. And let's start with the first one, really going into motivation. How can we understand that? And one concept is out there that is probably most commonly read and cite in different pages, is when we split our motivation in two different types. There's the intrinsic motivation, that is that kind of motivation that really comes from within, something that feels like it's so important to us. It really goes into the priorities of our life and values, what we value through life. That's the motivation where we feel really like, oh, I really want this and I really need this. That's the intrinsic motivation. It almost gives us a feeling of focus and concentration that we can really put our energy in this very goal. So the intrinsic motivation is a great motivation when you have a goal that you know you're going to take a long time to do that. It takes a little more patience to really cover that goal. It has more steps. So that's the intrinsic motivation. It usually takes a little longer to build it. So that's on the minus side. We have to really become aware what is so important in my life and then match up the goal with what is important to me. And that's how you create intrinsic motivation. It usually takes a little longer to really get it. And then the other type of motivation will be the extrinsic type of motivation. That's, as the name already kind of reveals, comes from an external factor. That might be a friend telling you, you know what, I tried this out and it really worked for you. Worked for me. And I think you should do that too. It might be from your doctor. You just had a physical exam. He tells you, your blood pressure could be better. Maybe you should start thinking about exercising or some changes in your diet. It might be even a magazine or an account that you see online. It might be Instagram or Facebook, some photos that you see and that inspire you, but externally inspire you to do something. That's that motivation that gives you the feeling like, I should or I need to, but it's really more based on the outcome and hoping to make the other person happy sometimes. That's the extrinsic motivation. And the extrinsic motivation is really great to start something. Or when you hit a plateau and you just kind of can't get forward and you're losing your motivation, that's when extrinsic motivation is great, just to fire up that motivation and keep going. So when we know those two types of motivation, that's a great way to match them with your goals. So if you have a goal that you know it's going to take a little longer, I need more patience, then you want to find something that comes from within you and match it with your intrinsic motivation. When you have a goal that's really short and maybe just, doable in a weekend, then the extrinsic motivation might just do the trick. So that's really it. And then the other side of the concept and theories that support our motivation, I have three. We have three. Oh, Charlotte's already going on the next question, but let me do that real quick. We have three motivations that I feel like they really support you. And one is the incentive theory. That means a reward system. If that worked for you in the past.
No, you can keep going.
If you feel like that's something that helped you in the past as a reward system, did you feel like, oh, I get something at the end of this when I reach that goal? Yay, I can buy me a new outfit, or I'm going to go on a wellness retreat with my girls, or whatever it might be, then the incentive theory works. And why not? So if you know rewards help me and it doesn't have anything big, then support your motivation with that. Why not? Another one is the so-called drive theory. It's a little more complex, but it's fun. Fun. It really is based on your needs and desires and to relieve stress. So the most basic one is being hungry or thirsty. You just go and get something to eat or drink, and that will fulfill your needs and desires. But if you, for example, have a super stressful day or time in the month and you don't feel connected with your friends out there, then a reward might not do it. But knowing that you can help yourself by just connecting with people to de-stress, that's the incentive theory. And it really helps when you think of the positive. So rather than thinking, I don't want to be stressed anymore, I don't want to feel lonely anymore, you think of the other side as, I really want to socialize more and I really want to relax more. And that's the incentive theory. And the last but not least is super important because it goes back to our mind, is the expectancy theory. So it's the way of thinking. How do you think about yourself? How do you believe in your abilities that you can actually meet that goal? And the more positive and the more confident you are in your abilities, the more it will boost your motivation. So that's something that might take a little bit, but that's something we can work on to boost our motivation a little bit. So I hope those are theories that really help you to get in there and support it. So once again, I know that was a really long answer. One is the types of motivation that really help us to understand where our motivation comes from. And on the other side, we have some theories that help us support our motivation, especially when we have a little low or something like that. And yeah, I think from here, Shell already has the next question. What was the next question again? Let me double check. Any questions so far? Oh, that's a big one. How do we unleash your motivation? Now that's why we're here, right? That's why we're here. And I have a little freebie for that too. So if you stay in here, make sure you get a freebie later on. How do we unleash our motivation? That's what we want. Fire it up. So I have 5 magical steps that help us to really help us get our motivation going. And everything we just talked about, I just put them all into 5 steps. So if you're ready, we'll go. First step is to let go. Let go means when you seek motivation, you probably want to change something. And change means we have to give something up. So change is not easy. We have to let go of things. And sometimes it's a behavior that we kind of like, I don't know, eating chocolate every night. So we have to be ready to let go. And you have to be honest to yourself to say, all right, I'm ready to let go of this. Motivation means I want to change something. Change most of the time means have to let go. So that's one. And then the second step is creating a foundation. We talked about the different types of motivation, right? We have the intrinsic motivation and the extrinsic motivation. So we want to match them with your goals. So if you have something long term, then you want to match that with your intrinsic motivation. If you have a goal that doesn't take too long, it's just for the weekend or for a week, then the extrinsic motivation might do it. If you hit a plateau, extrinsic motivation might just be enough to get your motivation back on fire and get that little, kick that you need from a friend. Now, when we match them all up, we get to step 3. Step 3 means being aware of the values of your life. Like, what are your life values? What is most important to you? And you can kind of change step 2 and 3 a little bit. Depends on what comes first. But the more you know what you value in life, the more you can build up your intrinsic motivation. And then you really want to envision, give your mind the power to envision how you reach your goals and how awesome you're going to feel and how much you're going to love it. And that's your step 3, is really just create and envision, create how you're going to reach that goal and how awesome it's going to feel and how it works with the values of your life. Then step 4 is creating a strategy. And those are the theories we talked about, is really thinking, okay, if I have a low, what would help me the best? Is it a reward? Is it, or is my goal more based on some needs or to let go of stress? And, or is it, do I find myself more thinking critically and judgmental about myself? So I'm using one of those strategies for myself. So if I work well with rewards, I give myself a reward at the end. If I find myself finding, I want to fulfill a need or I want to let go of stress, then I want to become really aware of that. What is it that I want? Okay, I'm too stressed right now. So what I want really is to relax. And so I can match up all my behaviors to get to that goal. What would relax me more? So really it gives you a focus. And then third was the confidence, the way you think about yourself. Celebrate every step. Sometimes we struggle with that, like, yes, I can do this. And we read it and people motivate us and they fire us up and say, great, 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 I can do that. But our own belief system is a little different. So one way to do that is, one, you can break your goals down into little tiny steps and just tell yourself you can do that one step. And the other one is just telling yourself every day, just one thing you did great, one thing that worked out perfectly for you. And that way you can slowly build up your confidence. So one of these strategies, 3, right? One of the 3 strategies help us to support our motivation. And then step 5 is so important, and that's why we're here. Say it out loud. We sometimes tend to just keep motivation, like our goals within us, like, oh, maybe I'm not going to meet my goal. Maybe I'm going to fail. Maybe it's not working out. But it's so important to talk to other people, because when we talk about it, it becomes real. And not just that, that little support we get from others can boost our motivation, gives us that extrinsic motivation that we need sometimes. And even if you don't need a support system around us, just knowing that you have one when you need it can just calm your nerves and relax you enough to give you motivation, a little more room to spread the fire. So those are the things, like the 5 steps that I think are great to unleash your motivation. So first of all, let go. Second, create a foundation. Become aware of what you value in life and match it with your goal. Match your goals with your intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Pick a strategy, and then, of course, say it out loud. That's how we fire it up. And Charla has maybe another question for me.
Okay, that was great. I also just wanted you to talk a bit about, as we're approaching a holiday season, we're approaching a time where people usually just sit back and just be like, no, I'm just going to wait till January, wait till all the cookies and parties are gone. And how do we stay motivated through this time?
Yeah, that's the tricky one, isn't it? And I had the feeling this question is coming, and usually when people ask me for examples, I'm just go blank. So I prepared myself for this one for today, and I asked a dear friend and client of mine if I can share her story. So I hope you get inspired by that. Her goal is to lose a few pounds. It's about 30, 35 pounds that she wants to lose, and she's been working on it for a few weeks. And it's been going really great. She feels wonderful, and she started losing some weight. And so it's about 2 months, not even anymore, until Christmas. And we started talking about her goals through that time. And she was very motivated to keep going strong and be motivated. But she has a job that's very, very demanding through Christmas time. She has a lot more extra shifts. It's very stressful. So we talked a little bit about, is it realistic to keep up all the goals that she had so far? And she realized it's maybe not realistic to keep losing weight in the pace she's been doing it, but it's more realistic to maintain the weight right now until the holiday season is over. That doesn't mean she's giving everything up. It just means that we had to discuss what we have to do for her to be able to maintain the weight and keep working on her healthy lifestyle and creating a lifestyle that she can do while she is enjoying the Christmas season, where she has to do more work. It seemed like following more of the health stuff was adding more stress, and we wanted to avoid that, obviously. So it's a long time. For her, it was about 2 months. We talked about that a few weeks back. And keeping the motivation up for maintain it is. So we decided, what about what really is your motivation to keep it up? And she said, well, she wanted to lose weight. That was her main motivation. So we had to talk about why she actually wants to lose weight. And we found out that her main motivation to lose weight was her grandchildren. During the summer season, she was playing in the park with them, and she had troubles keeping up. And she said she realized, I got to do something if I want to stay healthy and see them, graduating and getting married. And she wants to stay, with them and have fun playing with them. And so she created a vision for herself where she's playing next summer with her grandkids in the park. And that's her intrinsic motivation, creating that vision of herself doing that, and really have an example of herself in her vision, how she could run with them and how she can stay healthy with her. And that intrinsic motivation helps her to keep doing what she's doing. Now, she also has some extrinsic motivation ready for the Christmas season, because she knows she lost certain cookies. And her entire family asks her to bake those cookies. So she knows she's going to be around those cookies. She can't avoid those cookies. Plus, she wants to eat a few, maybe not all of them, but a few, right? So what she did, she created a network around her, besides some other little supporters she has that help her to keep those cookies in check, to help her to see that she eats within the limit that she gave herself. So she has two things. She has the extrinsic motivation, it's the support system, her family that helps her to don't eat all the cookies. And then the intrinsic motivation is her envisioning herself next year in summer running with her kids, and it gives her the motivation to stay strong through the motivation. So I hope with that example, I can kind of get together what I was talking about through today. Cookie lovers. I'm a cookie lover.
Okay. I'm also a cookie lover. I love cookies. They're probably my weakness. So thank you for that, Ursula. You also have a special gift for our viewers today, and I'd like you to tell us a bit more about that. Tell us where we can find that. I can maybe type that in the comments, the link or whatever in the comments, and just tell us what that is.
Yes, so I created a little motivation cheat sheet that kind of summarizes what we talked about today, but it gives you the opportunity to personalize it a little bit and to work through the motivation. And it's a little bit of a guide that you can have with you when you feel like, okay, I'm losing my motivation, or I'm not quite sure how to find my motivation for a specific goal. So I created this little workbook. It's absolutely free. And I think we just share the link. I think easiest would be we just share the link where you can download that freebie and that motivation guide for you in our comment section right when we're done, right after the questions maybe, so you get there. And I'll again post it on my Facebook site. Maybe Charlotte can share it so that you can access it. And please feel free to download it. It's completely free. And it's a great guide just to find your motivation. It's almost like a little summary of what we've talked about today, just to be able to personalize it. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're just going to share the link and you can download it. It's for free. So go for it. And oh, yes, I just kind of summarized together what other clients and friends of mine thought was most helpful. Because motivation, when you do a little bit of research, it can get quite theoretical. So I'm just kind of focusing on how to make it practical in an everyday busy life. So we're just going to share the link with the freebie in the comment section. And if you want to look at my page, Health Coach Ursula, I'm going to share it there too. So you can access it anytime.
Yeah. All right, so I'm having trouble. Messenger doesn't like to let me copy and paste links. So I just put it in my browser and I'm just gonna copy it in the comments.
I'll just add.
Is that okay?
Oh,
I think that's the
perfect.
right way.
And I'll add it later to it too. Perfect.
Okay, so now we're going to open it up for Q&A. So if you have questions, whether you have them live now, you can get them answered live. But if you're watching this later on, Ursula will also be watching the comment section to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so go ahead and post those in the comments.
Anything. Holiday season is coming up and the cookies will be there. That's for sure. No questions.
Especially if you have kids, right? I don't have to make a bunch.
Oh. Or your entire family orders them from you.
Well, if you think of any questions, feel free to comment right here under the video. We will leave this up and we will be getting notified.
Yes, and I'll do my best to answer them as quick as possible. And also, again, just download that workbook. It will hopefully help you to create your personalized
so
motivation.
those of you who are still on, sorry, there's a delay, so I'm okay. So those of you who are still on, thank Ursula for joining us. Thank you so much, Ursula. This was great information. And you know, share with your friends if you know people. I'm sure you know people who are struggling with motivation. I think we all know somebody, at least one person. And just let them know, let them share this information, let them know how they can get some motivation, especially this season. And I loved what Ursula said about being realistic. We each have our own journey. We each have our own things that motivate us and things that are important to us. So I love that point. But so thank you, Ursula, for joining us. I loved having you. And I can't wait to, I'm sure you'll join us again. She writes a lot for the magazine, lots of great information in the magazine if you haven't checked that out. A lot of great articles on meal planning and motivation and mindset and all kinds of stuff in there. So make sure you check that out as well. But thanks for joining us, those of you joining us live and those of you who will watch this later on. Again, post questions in the comments. Let us know what you thought of this. And if there's anything else any other topics that you would like to see discussed on Wellness Wednesday, please also let me know and drop that in the comments as well. So other than that, thank you, Ursula. I hope everyone has a great day and we'll see you later. All right.
Thank you.